what is our current event this week? Why Silicon Valley panicked over Australia's under 16 social media ban. Here we go. Australia, I think maybe last week. Yeah, last week. Australia passed a law banning children under 16 from social networks. The Online Safety Amendment bill bans social media platforms from allowing users under 16 to access their services, threatening companies with fines of up to 50 million Australia or $32 million USD if they fail to comply. However, it contains no details about how it will work, only that the companies will be expected to take reasonable steps to ensure users are age 16 or over. The bill won't come into force for another 12 months. Here's the kicker. The bill does not specify which companies the legislation would apply to, though Communications Minister Michelle Rowland has said that Snapchat, TikTok, X, Instagram, Reddit, and Facebook are likely to be part of the ban. YouTube will not be included because of its significant educational purpose, she said. I know the air quotes, but YouTube really does have a lot of educational videos on it and has helped a lot of people, me included. So this wasn't sarcasm. The new law was drafted in response to what the Labour Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says is a clear causal link between the rise of social media and the harm to the mental health of young Australians. Not just Australians, but academics, politicians, and advocacy groups have warned that the ban could backfire, driving teenagers to the dark web or making them feel more isolated. Let me tell you something. If they want to be on the dark web, they're going to be on the dark web. Doesn't matter. Ban or no ban. Here's the real kicker, guys. TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and X are mad. They're saying that even Meta is saying the process was rushed and failed to consider the voices of young people, the measures the tech industry already takes to protect them, and existing evidence about the effects of their social media use. The real concern they have is that if every country in the world boots its young people from social media companies would face an uncertain future. I know quite a few people who wouldn't be sad about that. Australia on its own is the amount of users they have isn't large. And if every underaged, according to the law, if every underaged person stopped using social media, it wouldn't really put a dent in Facebook or X or Twitter. Oh, same thing. Or Instagram. What they're concerned about is the precedent. Because if this law is successful and there is a increased welfare of young Australians and how well they're doing, other countries are going to start peeking over and might want to implement this. And again, it'll affect these other sites' bottom line. If you can't get the young users coming in, it's going to mess you up. I am in favor of this ban. I feel like social media is an awesome tool and resource. Just like a car that gets you from here to there. But something that is a great tool and resource when put in inexperienced hands or the wrong hands can be dangerous. You wouldn't put a 13-year-old behind the wheel of a car. You shouldn't. Some people would. Because that could just have disastrous effects. Same with social media. Their brains aren't fully developed. They're emotionally not developed. I mean, when I think about what I was doing and my thoughts and how I was like at 13, 14, 15, I'll be honest. I'm glad we didn't have all this even when I was 18. Like it wasn't serious like that. Mm. I mean, like, I'm not saying we didn't have it. It wasn't what it was today. I'm glad. You're not really thinking about the fact of what you're putting out there, what you're opening yourself up to, what you're looking at, and how it's making you feel. We already had magazines, and I'm just coming from the terms of like models and physicality. You already had magazines that had like very airbrushed, polished lighting, edited covers of beautiful people that made you feel kind of a certain way, and articles within. But even then, there was just a limitation there. There was only these people. You go online now, and it's like thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people that, if you don't understand or have a comprehension of the fact that social media really isn't real, it's just a highlight of the best parts of somebody's life, it could mess you up. Now, the tech companies not only are concerned about the law, but they oppose measures in both Australia and Canada that required them to pay for news content. I remember that. The problem was not the amount of money demanded, but what might follow. If every country in the world required payment for news, the financial burden saddling Facebook and others would be enormous, as would be the responsibility of determining what constitutes news. That's a loaded conversation that I'm also not looking to have. This is a fun space. Fun. What the tech companies want them to do with the ban is have a measure that requires parental consent, which would divide responsibility between the company and its users. So they're kind of like, hey, don't put everything all on us. Let the parents be a part of this, which is responsible. And it's a good point. Yes, parents have responsibility as well. However, this, I think, is the way it is in French media. Local French media says that technical challenges, they've kind of implemented what the tech... I have a package. I'll get to it. They've actually implemented what the tech companies want, like, making it more about like, hey, parents having to check off and give consent and everything. And what they have found, the data on that is that parents don't use parental control measures on social networks. And this is not me damning parents. This is me saying, if it's not working, because according to French media, it's not working, and you really are pressed to kind of make sure the youth, the next generation, is going to be in a good place, the elements of this ban need to happen. Now, I don't know the ins and outs and how it's going to really differ, but basically, it sounds like the responsibility is maybe 90-10, like 90% the social media site, 10% the parents. Because with the parental controls measures, it seems that it's 10-90. 10% on the social media, 90% on the parents. I want to see what happens with Australia's ban. So we're going to have to wait a while to see. It's not going to be enforced until for like another 12 months, it said. So we'll see. Or we'll see what underhanded things the tech companies might try to do what loopholes they might try to find or create for themselves, because this gives them time to kind of see how they can get around this. If I'm being honest, no one should probably use social media until they're like in their mid-20s. It's just, I just think about some of like, it's called young and dumb for a reason. You're just young. You don't know a lot about the world and things like that. A lot of times you just spout out, or you like look at things and you don't understand how life works. And then forget about the fact that AI can like edit, there was always like Photoshop, but like AI editing videos now, you're not even sure what you're seeing. Needless to say, I'm a fan. I support this and I want to see what happens.